blessed by the divine.
Be blessed by the divine. Be blessed by the divine. Be blessed by the divine. Good morning, everybody. Today, like as sir said, we will be having a discussion. We'll think about thoughts. Okay. So let us go and start this one. So what we are going to see today is, so what is the dictionary meaning of thought? And let us look at some of the famous quotes by various scholars on thoughts. And then let us go through what is Maharishi's explanation, what he has given about the thoughts. And then let us look at what are the various stages, how he has explained through this philosophy. And then we will go through what are the significance of thoughts. So first, thoughts. What do you mean by thoughts? The act of thinking about or considering something, an idea or opinion, or a set of ideas about a particular subject. So this is the dictionary meaning of thought. So we all know what is thought by this explanation. So this is about thinking something, whether it is an idea or opinion on something, or it is a collection of ideas or a set of ideas about a particular subject. This is the literal meaning of thought. Then let us go through some of the famous quotes. So let us start with Swami Vivekananda. So what he says is, we are what our thoughts have made us. So take care about what you think. Words are secondary. Thoughts live, they travel far. So this is it's very clear from this saying that this is we are what our thoughts are. So we have to be very careful about what we think. So even Swamiji says, Revananda Swami says, words are secondary only; they are not primary. So thoughts are more important than words because they live and they travel far away. And then the next one is another scholar, Marcus Aurelius. He says the soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts. So again, it is also indicating, or it also conveys the message that the thoughts are very important because it becomes dyed with the color of thoughts. So like what they say in one of the Itihasa. So it's like seeing the world with the glasses. If I see the world through a black glass, everything will be look dark. If I see through another color glass, it looks in the color. So in the same way, our soul also gets the same thing like our thoughts. And then the next one is, so this is very interesting, Louis here. So I do not fix problems, I fix my thinking, then problems fix themselves. So this is also conveying another way that our thoughts are very important. It's more than our action, words or deeds. And then Alexander Graham Bell, another great scientist. Concentrate all your thoughts upon the work at hand. The sun's rays do not burn until brought to your focus. So here what he says is the importance of thought and the concentration of thoughts in order to achieve something at hand. And then Gautam Buddha. We are what we think. All that we are arises with our thoughts. With our thoughts, we make the world. So again, the message is very clear that the thought is very important. And then some more quotes. Another scholar, Willie Nelson. Once you replace negative thoughts with positive ones, you will start having positive results. So it's also similar to the die, the other scholar who says. So once we have positive thoughts, we will get positive results. And then again, another quote by Buddha. Nothing can harm you as much as your own thoughts unguarded. So which means evil thoughts are they will do bad for us. Like if you want to throw the fire on somebody, if you take it by hand and throw, first our hand gets burnt, then only it will go. So in the same way, the bad thoughts or the unguarded thoughts first spoil us before it can impact others. And then another scholar, Florence Shin, the game of life is a game of boomerangs. Our thoughts, deeds, and words return to us sooner or later with astounding accuracy. So this is what has been explained in a different way, as it was explained by our various sages also. So what we think comes back to us. So it's like a boomerang; it will come back to us. So what we think, what we speak, and what we do is more important because it will come back with the astounding accuracy, as explained by Maharishi also in the famous cause and effect explanation. So these are some of the famous quotes, right? Okay. So now let us go through the what Maharishi has explained or how he is laying the ground for explaining thoughts and others. So we know what is the genetic center. So we all have genetic center. So what is the genetic center? Genetic center is nothing but it is located at the center of the physical body, and this is the center for our biomagnetic circulation. Like the current, the flow of electrons, and there is a center. Our body, our every human being is having a biomagnetic energy, and this is getting circulated throughout the body, and the center is genetic center. So in that genetic center only, all the karmas are stored, like Sanchita karma, which is from the forefathers or from the beginning of this life in the planet, and then prarabdha karma, what we do from the age of 3, and then akamya karma, which is based upon our Sanchita karma and prarabdha karma. So we tend to do based upon our imprints and what we experience through the from the young age. So these are the 3 karmas which are getting recorded in our genetic center. So next, we need to understand about the mind before we go ahead. So what is mind? So Maharishi has explained very clearly that mind is a biomagnetic wave. So what is the biomagnetism functioning through the cells of the brain gives rise to the mind. So like the biomagnetic circulation throughout the body, when it passes through the mind, it is termed as mind. And then mind has 2 functions, compression and expansion. So like Maharishi has explained this, suppose if you look at a big animal, like for example an elephant, the elephant is very big and it gets registered. See, if you see through the eyes, it gets as a small, tiny, like a small mosquito, it can be seen through the eyes, and still it is getting compressed and stored in our genetic center as a much finer size. So this is the function, one function of mind, and then another one is expansion. So at the same time, we can think about, suppose if somebody asks you, can you think about a good mango, or about another elephant? So your mind can expand and it can come out. So this is, if we have not seen anything, it will not be easier for that to come to our mind, because this is not recorded in our genetic center. So this is another function of mind. Actually, the human mind can also be set to a function through the thought also, because the parameters of perception are cognition, experience, and discrimination. So these 3, cognition, experience, and discrimination, the mind perceives the internal and external, which can be objective or subjective. So, and also it assesses the value of relationship of men and materials according to our memories, circumstances, and the future. So all this put together as a psychic system is termed as thought. So what are thoughts? The thoughts can be, actually one more thing is, the thought or the biomagnetism is converted through pancha tan matras. So like through our senses, so it comes out and we experience the world through these senses. And then here the thoughts can be, or the thoughts are, it can be with the time. Time means whatever we have seen many years back also, it is registered as a thought. So we will be able to recollect and remind them because it is related with time. Next is distance. So there is no limitation of the distance for thought. If you just close your eyes and think about what happened 20 years back when we were a child in India or wherever it is going to be, we will be able to get it back in our mind. So the distance also is one of the factor. And then the volume, so the size. So you can see that how big it is or how small it is. And then the next is force. Force is like how fast it is coming or so we can link the thoughts through these 4 dimensions: time, distance, volume, and force. So what is that? The imprints generated at a particular frequency reflect as thoughts when the mind comes to the same frequency once again. So we all know that our mind works at different frequencies: beta, alpha, theta, and delta. Normally a human being is at beta frequency, which is more than 14 cycles per second, 14 to 40. So this is called what do you call an emotional state of mind. So we know the significance of this number, this frequency, and Maharishi has given various methods to bring the frequency down from beta to alpha, which is 7 to 14, and then theta, which is again 4 to 7, and then delta, which is less than 3. So we are trying to achieve our this frequency reduction only. See, like we might have experienced this philosophy or this explanation. Imprints generated at a particular frequency reflects as thoughts, and we will be able to recollect it in the same frequency. See, for example, when we come back from the work, we keep our car key, for example, in a location. Okay, so at that time our frequency is little bit different because we are in maybe in a relaxed mood, and then the next day morning, if you are late, for example, and you are getting ready to work, and when you try to locate the key, we may not be able to recollect where the key is, for example, or where the pen is, or whatever the things is. And then somehow we will manage and we go to the office. And then when you go there and when you are trying to be in a little bit relaxed mood, or when your mind frequency comes back, oh, okay, you will remember that it is, I left it there. Probably you may call your spouse and ask, okay, can you please check whether the thing is there? It will be there definitely. So this is this is the explanation. This is the experience of this explanation, that the thoughts come back at the same frequency. And then this is thoughts become words. So there is no word without any thought. So we cannot speak without thinking about it. And then next is action or deeds. And this is followed by the words. It will not come directly. And then each and every thought, word, or deed will have a result. And then this results will have imprints in our genetic center. So this is what is the cycle. So whatever we think is imprinted, whatever we speak is imprinted, and whatever we do is imprinted through the result in our genetic center. So these explanations are important to understand the significance of this thought. So what is mind is whatever thing is getting imprinted and whatever is getting activated, this thought. Okay. And then when this gets expansion through the brain cells, it is thought. So this is the explanation of thought given by our Maharishi. So we know about the thought which is coming from the mind. So let us look at the 10 stages of the mind to understand how this is having an impact on our thought also. So for anything, first we know the sensation. So the sensation leads to the need. So let us go through this, and then after going through this, and if we take a simple example, we will be able to understand all these stages very easily. And then the need, because of the need, one takes the efforts to achieve something. And then during this process of achievement, we do some actions. And then this action results in something. And then this result can be either enjoyment or pain. and then this comes out as experience. And then these are the 7 stages. Okay, once we do this, and then after this we do based on the experience, we can we can do a research, and then based on the research we will be able to realize something, and then because of the realization we come to the conclusion. Okay, we can take a very simple example for food, hunger. Okay, so hunger is a sensation. So when you get hungry, what we need food, for example. Okay, so then the food, some efforts are taken to get the food. Either we have to cook ourselves, or we have to call and order, or we have to go sit in a restaurant and eat. So this is the effort we need to do. So for this we do the actions. So the action is either cooking or going or ordering or whatever it is. And then once we fulfill the need, there is a result. So this result can be either enjoyment or pain. For example, if you feel hungry and then we take, for example, 4 idlis, and then there is vada, there is pongal also. If we keep on stuffing ourselves, this enjoyment may become pain. So either this enjoyment or pain gives the experience. Okay, so then what we will know is, if we know, then we know that if we eat more than what I can digest or what I can tolerate, like if I take idli along with vada and pongal, if everything is good, like sambar, chutney, all are good, and we cannot go and keep on stuffing ourselves. So if I get pain, then I get the experience also. And if we get if we enjoy the good food, then also we get the experience. For example, we have got the pain, okay, the stomach ache after having us more than what we do, and then our mind will do the research. Okay, because this first 7 is for all living beings, including up to 5 senses and also the 6th sense, human being. And then the next 3, research, realization and conclusion, is applicable only for us, the human beings with the 6th sense. Let us go ahead and continue with the same example. If we are having a painful experience of food, and then we do the research, as a human being with the 6th sense, we will be able to comprehend what went wrong. Okay, why I am getting the stomach ache. Then, okay, we know that, okay, then we will realize that, okay, we have overeaten after seeing the food as if we are not going to get the next day. So we are just suffered ourselves with this food. And then we can come to a conclusion that, yes, we should not overeat, and we have to limit ourselves based upon our capacity or our system, how much it can handle. So this is from a very simple example of everyday eating to anything in our life. We can just correlate this with these 10 stages. Like the first 7 stages are only, actually this is the habit. Okay, and then the next 3 is the wisdom. So like Maharishi explains, human being are always, there is a tough fight between the habit and the wisdom, and most of the time habits actually conquer wisdom for any normal human being. So we get into pain time and again, time and again. So what Maharishi says is, we should have the wherewithal or the mental capacity to overcome our habits and get into the wisdom of what is good and what is bad. So this is the explanation of the mind. Okay, and then next, let us go ahead with the significance of thought. Okay, so now we have understood what is the thought and how the thought arises and how this is arising with the functioning of the mind also, because we have just understood through the stages of mind. So let us go through the significance of thoughts. First, what Maharishi says is, this is the noble thought. Okay, like we have seen before, thought makes man with the by the quotes, and then the characters of our thoughts and deeds is registered in the genetic center. So this is also, we have seen it, and as we know that we are passing our inheritance, not only the wealth what we accumulate, But more than wealth, the good genetic center or the imprints what we are passing from our generation to the next generation is much more important than our physical wealth, because the wealth can be accumulated anytime, because wealth, as in Tamil it is selvam. So selvam means it can go, it is the beauty of the language Tamil. So accumulation of wealth is also important, but to have a good or pure genetic center and to pass on that inheritance to our next generations is much more important, because this will stand the generations, it will get passed on, and also the characteristics is based on the purity of the genetic center also, or the thoughts also. So thoughts and deeds that spoil the mind have to be avoided. So this is the lesson we have to learn. So what are noble thoughts? Maharishi is telling noble thoughts are contentment, tolerance, charity, chastity, integrity, and forgiveness. So these thoughts have to be developed. These noble thoughts have to be developed in once. We have to develop these, because these, how these thought arise. Maharishi says that these thoughts arise in an expanded state of mind. So we all know, whoever has got initiated into the meditation techniques by Maharishi, we know what is the expansion of the mind. So this one, the meditation helps us in the expansion of the state of mind. For example, when you do the Turyadhidam meditation, we expand our mind to the vastness of the universe. So, and become one with it. So when we go to that kind of expanded state of mind, we will develop this kind of noble thoughts like contentment, tolerance, charity, chastity, integrity, and forgiveness. Because these thoughts are important, because this improves the quality of our genetic center. And then next, we should actually avoid the evil thoughts, because we saw earlier that we are what we think. Our thought is the sculpture of your life. Or so we have to get rid of the evil thoughts. So Maharishi has explained this very clearly as a 6 temperaments. Okay, why these six temperaments come also? We have seen this. This is coming out of me and mine, I and mine, which is aggressiveness and possessiveness. So these 6 are born out of the parents, I and mine. So what happens if we have these evil thoughts like greed, anger, miserliness, immoral sexual passion, vanity, and vengeance? This will lead to the 5 sins. Okay, Panja Mahabhadangangal in Tamil. So these are the worst kind of sins one can commit. What are those worst sins also? Yes, he explained. Okay, Poi, Kalavu, Sudu, Kolai, Karpazhippu. So Poi is lie, Kalavu is theft, Sudu is actually this is like a gambling, or doing something behind the scene, speaking something and doing something. Kolai is murder, and then Karpazhippu is sexual harassment. So these 5 great sins arise out of these evil thoughts. So when they, how they arise is, or how or when they can arise is when our mind is in a narrow state. So when we are in a narrow state of mind, so what does it mean is we lack meditation and introspection, because like the noble thoughts develop when we keep doing the meditation and introspection. So the lack of meditation and introspection can lead to the what do you call, the evil thoughts getting more and more stronger in our mind. So when this becomes stronger, we commit all the sins, and we pass on this to our next generation also. So we need to work on how to remove these evil thoughts, and there is a very clear explanation given by 6 temperaments, and we need to follow this and then to achieve this one. And then Maharishi says that mind is like a stage. So in the stage, what do we do in the stage? We perform in the stage. Okay, so who does all these things is the thought. So what thought does is, thought performs the work of acting. It is the actor, it is the director, it is the script writer, and it produces the play. And more than this, actually, the one who watches or being watched is also through the mind. So this is the beauty of this mind. And then we know quality of thoughts is the quality of mind. So the thoughts are very important, which is another significantly explained by this one. So how to achieve good thoughts is the process of mind traveling inwards. So we need to do the practice of meditation. So Maharishi has given us 9 meditations, and it is in each and every level. So first we start observing the life force in Agna, and then we go to Turyam where it gets merged, and then when we expand our mind, then in the Turyadidam we go, or we travel beyond our mind, and then we just get merged with the eternity or the divinity. So when we expand the state of mind, that is expansion. And when we travel inward, actually, we will know what are the goods and bad things, and we will be avoiding bad things, and we will be strengthening the good things. So this is another significance of meditation. Okay, and then another thing what Meghar is explaining is only thoughts can supervise. So using thought only, one can analyze or supervise our thoughts. So nothing can work on this. Only thought can supervise the thoughts, or it can analyze our thoughts. With our thoughts only we can do this. So getting rid of evil thoughts and replacing with good thoughts will bring change for betterment. So this one actually Maharishi, he has explained this with a very small story. Okay, so there was a guru, and that guru he had 4 students. So they all were intelligent, and time and again that guru used to pit them against each other. So he wanted to bring the best out of these students. So he will test them time and again frequently. So one day what he did, he just brought a pot, and then he asked all the 4, what is inside the pot? The first guy looked at it, and then he said, there is nothing inside the pot. And then the second one, when he came, he thought that something should be there. He just put his hand inside, and he found nothing inside. And then he said, there is nothing, Guruji. And then the teacher was not very happy. So after this, the third student, he observed that the guru is not happy. So then he said that there is air inside the pot. Okay, then the Guruji smiled. So then the students understood, okay, the master is happy, so he is getting some answer. And then he asked them a question, can you take the air out of the pot? And then all the students replied that, how can you take the air out of the pot? And then the last guy, the fourth one, he said, it is possible to remove the air out of the pot. And then Guruji asked, how can you do? Then what he did, he just poured water into the pot. So when he did this, the air inside the pot is displaced with the water. So when you fill the pot with the water, air is automatically removed. So in the same way, if we are filling ourselves with the good thoughts, then when it gets full, the evil thoughts will automatically go away. So this is a very simple explanation of how can we fill ourselves with a good thought. Okay, so we all understood about the thought now. So then we should know. Then we will be thinking how these thoughts arise actually, because per minute we can get hundreds of thoughts. So then one will be curious to understand or to know how these thoughts arise. Okay, and one more thing, like we said before, the thoughts are the sculptor. So like a sculptor who is removing, suppose if you give a rock to a sculptor, he will remove all unnecessary ones, and he can make a beautiful statue out of the thought. So in the same way, the thoughts sculpt our life. And then what Maharishi, these are some of the quotes or poems by Maharishi. Maharishi has written a lot of poems, and around 2000 poems are published as 2 volumes of something called Jnana Kalanjiyam in Tamil, and there are a lot of Tamil English translations also. The one thing in this one, some of these thoughts that do not harm oneself or the others are noble thoughts. This is what Maharishi says. So he says another thing, thoughts come to fruition provided they are strong and virtuous. So it is not only strong, they have to be virtuous also, because like for example, Maharishi has explained it very clearly. The Hitler, actually the people like Hitler, Mussolini, all these people, they are also very strong. Their thought process is strong. And like person like Mahatma Gandhi also, they have a strong thought. But how the thoughts are being used in a virtuous way, which Mahatma Gandhi did, but it was not the case in the case of these tyrants. So Maharishi says that if they are strong and virtuous, it will be full. Actually, like Muthu sir is explaining, in the movie, villain will be strong. Villain's thoughts are strong. But in the end, we know what will happen to the villain. Either he will die or he will be in the jail. So the virtuous thoughts are very important. So in this Jnana Kalanjiyam 1527, what he says, if we understand the power and nature of thoughts, we will understand its origin also. So once, because we may be thinking, where is the thought originating? Where is the thought originating? But it cannot be understood without understanding the power and the nature of thoughts. This is what Maharishi explained this. And one more thing, in the same, there is a probably around 25-30 poems in that under the heading thoughts. The one more couplet in this is, if you really have an enemy, it is the immoral thought that arises in your mind. So it is very clear and very simple. He has conveyed. It is like a Tirukural, which is a couplet which conveys a deeper meaning in 7 words or 2 sentences. So what here Maharishi says is, if you really have an enemy, it is only your immoral thought, which is very, very obvious for us to understand the importance of thought and the importance of good thought and the problem of evil thought. Okay, so these are some of the things. So like we discussed before, one would be curious to know how the thoughts are arising, or what is the reason of thoughts, how the thoughts come. Maharishi has given that there are 6 reasons or 6 reasons for how the thoughts can arise, so, or the 6 categories. So let us go through one by one. First is from thoughts arising out of needs. So what are those thoughts? Like for example, getting hunger or feeling thirsty or getting some clothes for taking care of the cold climate, or getting or need of air conditioner in case of very hot climate, and the facilities to take care of the excretory forces, because these things cannot be avoided in life: hunger, thirst, climatic changes, or excretory force. So these are the things which are bare minimum necessary for the human being to live. So whatever thoughts arise out of these needs, this is one category of thoughts. And the second one is getting out of the habit. Okay. So for example, what is this one? So we have certain thoughts which are automatic. Okay, whether we need or not, whether there is any reason or not. This is actually, these thoughts arise out of the habits. For example, coffee. We are all used to get up in the morning, and then next thing after brushing, we want to have either coffee or tea or something. Some people have the habit of, even without brushing, as soon as they open their eyes, they need a cup of hot coffee or tea near their bed. Okay, this is a habit. And then next thing is, they open the newspaper and sit. So this is the habit, even though you have to go to work or get ready in the morning. Okay, but the problem is, we get into this habituation, like we discussed before, habit versus wisdom. So these are the things which are developed out of the habit. For example, if you don't get the coffee or tea on time near our bed, we get annoyed and we get irritated and we start shouting. And if somebody is taking the newspaper and you are not able to lay your hands on the newspaper, you will get very annoyed. And also, like for example, timely food. Suppose if we are habituated to have food, for example, breakfast at 8 o'clock, lunch at 1 o'clock, and dinner at 6 o'clock, whether you are hungry or not, this is the need arising out of the habits. And then the next one is circumstances, or all the environment around us. For example, we are in an office, okay, and then if at a certain point of time, everybody goes for having a cup of tea or coffee. So what we do, we also go with them and then take the coffee. Or for example, if they are going and having a snacks in the afternoon, whether you are hungry or not, we just get. These are some of the good things. For example, some of the not necessary things or bad things, like for example, smoking, like Maharishi has explained very clearly that this one smoke is only because of the circumstances. He has written that nobody in the world would have bought their first one. So it is only through the influence of or the environmental conditions. So this is the need which is arising out of the environmental surrounding. Okay, and then suppose the good one or the good thought for this circumstances is, suppose in our family our spouse is doing the spouse is following Vedatriyam. For example, the spouse is doing the meditation daily without any gap. They are doing exercise, meditation, following everything. And actually the spouse is not doing, the other one is not doing, partner. So after some time, this can influence the other one, and he or she may start doing the meditation and follow this. So this is a good example of the circumstances. And then the next one is influence of other thoughts, or the imposition, or the force of others' imposition. So if we are not aware, if we are not in an awareness state, if we are in a emotional state of mind, this will happen. Actually, we are letting our others to control our emotions. Okay, this is very simple. We have experienced ourselves, and nobody needs to explain this to us. If we walk through a market, okay, and we can see a lot of things being sold in the market, and you will be having a list. Your spouse would have given a list what to buy, how much to buy. So you will go through the list and you will keep on buying one by one. Suppose if you see a vendor who is selling something, for example, a fruit, a seasonal fruit, mango or banana, whatever it is, and then the way in which he is selling, or his marketing skills will influence you, and what we will do, we will buy that product, and also we will, even though it is not in the list, we will buy. And this can be more clearly understood as we are now in the world of advertising and shopping. When we go to the shopping mall, you can see how now the salesmen have become very, very intelligent, and how they will be trying to influence you. If they want to sell something, if they understand our psychology, if we start how we behave, they will start influencing our thought process. You might have gone there to buy only one pair of trouser and shirt, and by the way in which the salesman is able to influence our thought, we may end up in buying three instead of one, because they may say that buy two, one free. So what they will do, they will try to brainwash us, and they will try to make us buy the third one. So this is the influence of other thoughts. If we are in the awareness state, probably this will not happen. So we need to understand this, what is the influence of other thoughts. And then the next one is hereditary. So the thoughts are passed from the generation to generation. Okay. So for example, actually one example what Maharishi has given is, if one person wants to do some good for the village where he is living, for example, he wants to construct a school, the grandfather, and the grandfather made efforts, he is not able to. do this. So this gets passed on to the son, and then ultimately the third generation, the grandchild, he or she will be able to fulfill this dream of a school in the village. So this is the hereditary, how the thoughts are passed on through the generations. So this one is in one of the Tamil movies also, one of the director would have explained that a third generation person who is a barber, he is able to have his own shop only in the third generation, because his grandfather he had a dream of having his own shop, which he could not accomplish. His father could not accomplish, and only the third generation, the grandson, he was able to accomplish this through this one. Because how this is happening is, this is because we have understood the genetic center. So we pass on the imprints also from our genetic center to the next generation. So if we pass on this kind of good or noble thoughts, it will get fructified. Even if we pass on the evil thoughts also, that will also affect the next generation, and then it is not going to do good for them. So here we have to understand the significance of the thoughts. So we have to fill ourselves with the noble thoughts and not with the evil thoughts. And then the last one is divine thoughts. So what is the divine thought? For example, Vedatri Maharishi, his thought is divine. So he did not think his generation or his family, he thought about the whole world. So the whole world. So this is a very noble thought. How did he get this thought? It is because of the divine intervention. And then the great, like Mother Teresa, she came away from somewhere in the Europe, and then she came to India, and then she served for the downtrodden, or the people who are not even people, we don't bother to even go near them, the lepers. She took care of them, and then that is why she's called Mother Teresa. So that kind of divine thought. And then Mahatma Gandhi, what is his divine thought? He wanted to get freedom for India. So these kind of thoughts come through the divinity. So this is the wish of divinity, which actually gets us into this kind of thought. So now let us conclude this, whatever we have learned today. So we have to keep the positive thoughts, and then we have to be careful in what we think, and we should try to find the reasons behind the thoughts. So these thoughts will be only because of these six. So we should try to analyze why this is coming. And then the next important thing is subconscious mind. Actually, there is a lecture about subconscious mind by Mr. Sir. It is available in the channel. So subconscious mind is a very powerful slave or a servant. So we should know how to handle the subconscious mind for the betterment, or to have a proper or a good thoughts. And then let us see one or two. This Subramania Bharati, who is a very famous poet in Tamil. So thoughts must be realistic, noble, and clear. The mind strong and devoid of fear. So this is one of his saying. And then let us have a couple of Maharishi's saying before we conclude the session. So thoughts sculpt the human lives. This we have understood, or we have gone through this today. So thoughts are the power. Thoughts have the power that help harness the forces of nature. So today what we saw is, we saw about so today we learned about what is the dictionary meaning of thought, and then we had some famous quotes by various scholars, and then we went through how Maharishi is explaining the thought, like genetic center and the mind, and then what are the various stages of mind, and what is habit and what is wisdom, and how can we get away from habit and we can have the wisdom. And then we have gone through the significance of thoughts and how thoughts arises also. After understanding the importance of thought, or how thoughts can influence not only us, but how this will have an influence on our next generations, because we are passing our imprints also to them. Let us have let us purify our thoughts. Like the Guruji, one of the student of the Guruji, we can fill the, as he explained, filling water in the pot to get rid of the air. Let us fill ourselves with good thoughts and remove all the evil thoughts and lead a good life and attain the goal of life and have a good generations. Thank you very much for the opportunity, sir. Be blessed by the